Radical.
You know, Mike Tyson was one of the best boxers of all time. Mike Tyson even had a video game called Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which I hear he got screwed out of a lot of the royalties of that game. One of the best boxers of all time. When people think boxers, they think Muhammad Ali. They think Evander Holyfield. They might think Mike Tyson. They think Sugar Ray Leonard. They think, a lot of these names of the greats. Mike is up there. He's one of the greatest boxers of all time. There's a problem, though. The dude is almost 60 years old. And he got back in the ring, right? He's not a spring chicken. I heard that he actually had spinal issues. I do know that a couple months ago, they had to delay this fight because he has bleeding ulcers. I got bleeding ulcers. Got bleeding ulcers. I used to do a pretty good Mike Tyson impression. But he's not in his prime. He's way past his prime. He's a grandpa, man. But he's still Mike Tyson. And I'm sure he has a whole lot of power left in those punches. I saw his training workout video before this fight. I'm sure if he went in there motivated and determined, he very likely could knock the shit out of one Jake Paul, even in his senior state. Maybe in an early round. Now, what could also possibly happen is this whole fight could have been a fake fight. It could have been a fraudulent fight. Could have not even been a fight whatsoever. Could have been just two people hopping in the ring, hop, hippity hopping around each other. Well, Mike Tyson really didn't hop around from the highlights I saw, but Jake Paul seemed like he was trying so much to get away from Mike Tyson, to run away from him, and to come back in occasionally, maybe give him a little hug from what I saw. Maybe give him some combos. There's some combos in there from a distance. Maybe depends on how you look at it. There's so many people saying so many things about this fight. And there's so many things I've heard about it, which I can't verify. One thing somebody keeps telling me, and I keep reading, is Mike Tyson was paid to finish, basically, by the round, the longer it went. And I can't verify it, so I can't say one way or the other. Maybe some of you can verify. Because, some things sometimes get spread. And I just don't want to say something that's not factual. If that was the case, then obviously Mike Tyson didn't want to knock out Jake Paul before he got paid. But he got paid $20 million. That's about his net worth, I think, before the fight. Or maybe more. So good on you, Mike Tyson. You got your payday, brother. You got your payday. So that's good on Mike. This is just, I saw the highlights. I think a channel called House of Highlights. There was the highlights. I couldn't imagine having to watch the fucking supposed match. Sitting down and watching this on Netflix, that must have been torture for a lot of people. I saw the highlights, and there was a summary of the first round, 2-minute rounds, how many punches were thrown. Mike Tyson only threw 5 punches in 2 minutes. 5 punches in 2 fucking minutes, man? Logan Paul had, Logan, whoops. I might do that again. Both brothers are equally scummy. I dislike them both, probably would say equally, Well, maybe Logan I dislike a little bit more. But it's not a real fight. I've never seen any match, any boxing match, where in 2 minutes, there's only 5 punches by a person thrown. On round 1. Not the last round when they're tired. No, round 1. Only 5 punches. The hardest hit Mike hit on Jake Paul was that slap during their press conference, man. Like, where's that guy? Where's the passion from that guy, huh? There was a training video where Mike Tyson was really kind of going at a sparring partner. And I know it's a sparring partner. There's a couple hits that made the sparring partner knocked him back a little bit. For a 60-year-old man, he seemed to move around pretty good in that training video a couple days before the fight. Seemed to have some good power in the punches before the fight. From what I saw from the highlights, there was one nice left jab that really sent Logan Paul back. And there was some power behind that punch, and you could tell right away, like, if he wanted to early on, I think he could have knocked Jake Paul on his ass. We're talking about an older man, yes. borderline elderly man, yeah. But people act like it was elder abuse. I'm seeing this a lot of places. Elder abuse. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not from what I saw in the highlights. I mean, Mike Tyson clearly was in there, and he clearly had an ability if he wanted to hit Jake. And somebody said there was actually watching the fight, and there was many times where he was biting his gloves, just kind of like out of frustration, and he had some clear openings. That I don't care if you're one of the greatest boxers of all time. It doesn't matter if you're washed up or not. Openings are openings. Any boxer knows this. If you have a clear opening, you're going to take the shot. And for some reason, he just flinched. One time specifically, to a friend of mine that watched the match, he said that Tyson had a clear opening, and he just kind of it looks like he was trying to start to punch, but he held back. Maybe he held back because maybe the fix was fucking in, huh? The way that this was hyped up, the fire, the passion. Mike Tyson even slapped Jake Paul. That maybe can give you one indication that it was rigged. He slapped Jake Paul at their conference or weigh-in or whatever it is. The whole thing just seemed like it was put together. It's not a real fight, man. It's not a real fight. So the question is out there, what would happen if there was a real fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? Let's say Mike Tyson is relatively healthy. Maybe he doesn't have anything that happens before the bout. If you've watched him before, when Mike gets angry, I mean, he fucking bites off ears. He's a damn monster. He's a monster. There's no way, even pumped up, probably full of steroids, that Jake Paul has a chance to beat a former pro boxer like Mike Tyson. Like I said, if he's not completely broke down and has no ability to box. That's not the case, because if you saw the training video, he still knows how to box. I mean, this clown, this fucker, he would be out in the first or second round if Mike really was not playing around. I mean, people act like 58 years old is a senior citizen. People act as if Jake Paul was in there with fucking Joe Biden or Donald Trump or some shit like that. Or any old elderly person that's not a politician. But for some reason, I just like Biden in Biden in there would be fucking funny. But I think he would get lost and he would just wander off out of the ring or some shit like that. Maybe that's Jake Paul's next. Because, he's going to have some free time. Joe is. So maybe that's Jake Paul's. I mean, I laugh now, but who the fuck knows? He might challenge Joe Biden to get in that ring, man. I mean, there's so much here that I've probably left out. Maybe if I talk about this in the future, I don't know if I'll do a follow-up, but there's so much here I can talk about. But and also there was a women's boxing match I heard right before this. Actually, it was a fucking fight. The women fought each other, and they actually. So if you want to see an actual boxing match, then maybe that one or any other boxing match. This was not a match, man. From what I saw, all the hype built up, it wasn't a match. They just they danced around each other. They were dancing partners. It wasn't real, man. It was done, I think, twofold. What was the other point I wanted to squeeze in here? Okay, so the thing a lot of people say is Mike Tyson was 27 taking on Jake Paul at 27. There's no doubt. I think no one will think that Jake Paul at 27 could beat Mike Tyson at 27. Well, if we flip it around, what about Jake Paul at 58 and Mike Tyson at 27? See, this shit gets silly. You can't take this fucker seriously as a pro boxer because, yeah, he's taking on Tyson, but he's bragging about beating Tyson. He's going to, definitely. Or he was talking shit even like after the match. But you can't brag about it beating someone that's more than 31 years older than you. You can't brag about that shit. God, there's so much. I don't want to leave this out also that streaming was a nightmare. Could you imagine having to watch this shit and barely being able to watch it because it's streaming bad and it looks like 8-bit on the screen, like the Punch-Out game. There were people that were illegally downloading or illegally streaming it from not on Netflix. They couldn't go through official means because Netflix was too crowded. They raised the prices for every fucking body on Netflix. But when it comes to that, a lot of people couldn't even stream it. So he got his money. Jake Paul got $40 million. They're the winners here. Both of them win. There's not a loser in this. Both of them win. Everyone else who maybe took it seriously or tried to watch it while it was buffering on Netflix, wasted their precious time, they are the losers. They could have watched any other boxing match from any other time in history. But for the people that watched these rounds, these 2-minute rounds, these two jerk-offs playing their parts, playing their role, dancing around each other, at least Jake Paul was dancing, and Tyson holding back to make sure he didn't knock Jake Paul out. Because I'm sure that had to be, in the agreement before they got into the ring. That was, okay, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to try to hit you a couple times really hard, make it look very serious and everything. But I'm not going to knock you out. Okay, not going to knock you out. All right. Do I get my 20 million? I do. He's like, yeah, you get your 20 million. All right, great. Also, I think I showed my bare ass before the match. He did show his bare ass, man. I mean, I was going through like freaking people talking about it, and there was pictures, and I've seen his ass. I didn't want to see it, but it seems like everywhere on the internet. So there you go. You know whose ass I would like to see is the ring lady that was there with the beautiful body. I mean, yeah, parts of her were not natural born, but you know what? If I could possibly see her bare ass and not Mike's bare ass, that'd be fantastic.